Artificial intelligence, or otherwise known as AI, or ChatGPT, or 100 other names that we've been calling it. Look, if you're a marketer, a business owner, entrepreneur, you have to understand what AI can do for you and how to leverage the tools that are being created for all of us. And this is how you're going to grow your business. All right, enjoy this episode. Hello. Reb Risty here with Revolutionize Your Marketing. And I'm excited to be speaking with Branden Cobb with Marketing Exec. And we're going to talk about, seems like everyone's favorite topic right now is AI. So I'm excited to talk to you, Branden. Welcome. Thank you for
Thank,
coming.
thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat as well. It should be fun.
Yeah. Well, really quickly, if you don't mind, tell my audience who you are and what you do.
Sure, yeah. So I've been marketing for 15 years, mostly in-house. The last year and a half, been providing consulting services, fractional chief marketing officer services. And with that, I've experienced a lot, definitely keeping up on all the trends of AI and how to use it. And with consulting a variety of clients, we're implementing, really taking kind of the approach that, it's a co-pilot to what you're doing with your marketing. You're the human still in control, but also thinking that those who use AI, like AI is not going to replace humans, but those who use AI will replace those who are not getting up to speed on AI. So.
Got it. No, I think that's a really good point. And as a marketer, along with you, it's one of the biggest things that all of us are talking about, right? Is not just AI, but how do we leverage it and who's using it and how are you using it? And so I would love to know when we prepped for this interview, you were talking about AI and really the future of marketing. What are you doing with your clients as far as AI?
Yeah, well, a lot of times I come in, try to, number one, make sure people understand how does AI work and the different ways, it can work. So whether it's breaking it down as machine learning, and then that goes into, is it statistical learning and it's classifying things? Is it deep learning and it's predicting things? What are, I guess, understanding all the capabilities of it, and as well as generative, so creating content. But understanding the possible uses of it. So, you can use all those prediction models of AI to predict demand or various trends that you're going to expect. Or you can, what a lot of people think with marketing is on that generative side of creating the content, the text, the images, the videos, the voice. So I would say that's the first thing, is just trying to kind of get a understanding of how it works. But then, how do you want to use it? So, I was speaking with the CMO of eBay, and it was very interesting how he was using AI to generate for a display ad about 10,000 variations of a display ad. So instead of having a graphic designer go through and make those 10,000 variations, AI would make the variations. However, there would still be a human intervening there. So it wasn't going to be that the display ad is just publishing on its own. You still have a human check, but the speed of creating those ads is hyper sped up.
Right. Yeah, I think speed is definitely one of the key elements. Being able, I know I'm more on the creative side, so being able to generate ideas, just those initial talking points or copy points are really helpful, and then you can kind of take it from there. And it's varying degrees, right, of how much the human has to step in, and the AI can provide that content or creative. So you mentioned kind of the first step is categorizing or understanding AI. Where do you find are the best resources? So my audience are marketers, small business owners. Like, how do they're not eBay. Like, where do they go to really start to get an understanding so that they can learn how to categorize and start leveraging AI?
Yeah. There's a couple quick 5-minute videos, which I think are really great on YouTube. Maybe I can send them to you. You can put them in the show notes of
Ah,
this.
that would be
Um,
great.
and I think that will give a fast 5-minute overview, because if you understand the way AI is working, then yeah, you can start to get creative. It's kind of like that idea that you have to know the rules to break the rules. So if you know the way it's functioning, then you can figure out how to put it to use. I think the other thing to think about with AI is, sometimes it goes through a system of creating a prediction or generating the content that even sometimes the programmers don't know what's going on between how it's doing it. So it's considered kind of the black box of the AI. And the more we can learn the transparency of what's happening in the black box, the more we can rely on AI that it is making the proper choice for us, or the proper prediction or content generating. And so, the reason why I bring this up is because, since this is a marketing podcast, out of all industries, or out of all, I guess, departments within companies as well, I think marketing could probably benefit from AI more than almost any other department or industry. I think finance could do really well with it, but that black box portion of not knowing why you may reject a candidate for a loan, or not reject a candidate, you have to be able to describe that. So with marketing, as long as it's producing results, I think that there's a lot of opportunity with AI, but also, the more we can understand how it's coming up with what it's coming up with, the more you can put it to the best use. So.
Great. So you mentioned this is a marketing podcast. What would you recommend to your marketers out there who are a little standoffish, who are saying, I don't need AI? Like, what would your advice be to them?
Yeah, well, I would just think of it like this. A few years ago, or maybe 10 years ago or so, very few people knew how to edit a picture. Now everyone can pretty much edit a picture, or a few could edit a video, and now most can edit a video. So just look at it as a tool. Try to figure out which ways it come up with making your life easier. I think in marketing, one specific way is, you could develop a customer persona. So communicate with, if it's ChatGPT, for example, number one, this goes back to understanding how ChatGPT works. The 3.5 can sometimes hallucinate or make up some stuff, but the 4.0 is a better model. But 3.5 is predicting the next word. But anyway, with that going, if you come up with a customer persona, then, and you work communicate with ChatGPT on coming up with a customer persona, then you can tell ChatGPT to come up with some ad content or some written content targeted at that persona. So, now it's basically, it's just a wall to bounce off of, but it's coming up with a lot of the content. And then there's other ways. So I've been consulting a company called Bolsteroo, and it's a kind of like a content management platform, like a Hootsuite or Buffer and those kind of things. So it schedules out content, but it also generates the content. But there's a human intervention. You still have to hit click to go ahead and schedule it. But where I'm going with this is just allowing it to maybe not generate your final content, but the step between you creating the initial idea and the final product. Let it kind of hyper speed up or take you a little bit closer towards your final content.
Yeah, no, and that makes a lot of sense. And I know it's part of that learning curve. And even, being in the marketing world, it seems like I remember at the beginning of the year, everyone's like, hush, hush, don't tell anybody you're using ChatGPT. And now it's not only tell them you're using it, but tell them how good you are at using it. And there's such a big, it's amazing how much has changed in the learning curve. So kind of on the other side, so as marketers, we're trying to leverage these tools. I see clients, though, being a little scared of saying, well, why should I pay you this much if you're using this tool? Or can I trust the content that you're creating for us if you're using this tool? And what have you seen with your clients and being able to have that discussion of how AI is helping them or helping their marketer do a better job for them?
Well, AI is not going to come up with that. That's, again, that like initial idea or that prompt. It's the prompt, but AI is not going to know which direction to give. So, I mean, always in marketing, even when I would be in-house leading a marketing department, I would guide the team on which direction our content should go. I may not be the graphic designer out there creating it, or I may not be the copywriter creating it, but I would still give the direction. And this is the same thing. Now you just don't need maybe all those specialists underneath. You can have a generalist who really understands marketing come in and use the AI as it's not a lack of trust or a lack of quality. It's just replacing some of the it's making human, I mean, it's replacing some of the human labor, but it's replacing the repetitive tasks. It's not replacing the idea. And you still have to shape the idea. And then even whatever AI gives you, you need that marketer in place to kind of revise it and reshape it and keep communicating with the AI, or keep directing the AI. And that's kind of the idea of, whether it's supervised or unsupervised. And I think at this point, a lot of marketing or a lot of AI should be supervised. Yeah.
I love that, supervised. That's a great way to describe what you're doing, because you really are. It's a very young, rambunctious, out of control tool if you're not supervising it.
It hallucinates. I mean, it comes up. I don't know if you've heard, but like there was I mean, you can type in like, hey, are there any papers on this topic? And it may just say, yes, there is, but it just made up a whole paper. So or is there a news article on this or whatever, from the past? And it just made it all up. So you have to be careful that actually the information it's giving you is true, which is why having an expert still there. It's a tool, but you have to still be able to checks and balances.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I had not heard that, but it makes sense. So last question, what AI tools are you using or finding most useful?
Yeah. So, I think that for me, I use ChatGPT more than anything. And there are, Microsoft Bing is using the 4.0 and it's live connected to the internet, versus the free version of ChatGPT 3.5 is not connected to the live internet. It's, cut off in September 2021. But I like the September 2021 cutoff. The way it produces content, I think, is better than a lot. So I'm using it mostly. I'm using the platform mostly for writing textual content. I don't think the picture generators are that good yet. I don't think the video creators are that good yet, because I can tell from the voice or from the video, and maybe not the video as much, but I can tell from the voice that it's AI. And I think that goes into a whole nother topic of like, humans are going to get better and better at detecting what is AI generated content. At the same time, AI is going to get better and better at generating content that looks more human like. So, but with all that said, I mean, I'm not huge into all the picture generators, the video creators, and all those right now. I think the most I use it for is just really text generation at this point, and reorganizing things. You can do keyword searches. You can take lists and have them remove the duplicates or organize your list for you. And yeah, that's mostly what I'm using it at this point.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I would say that I'm using ChatGPT the most. Probably my team is too. So it's probably, I would say, the most popular. And again, I'm on the content creation side, but I can see on the data and analytics and organizing that it would be very useful as well. So, well, great. There's one thing that I loved on your website that you had, and I just wanted to quote it really quick. The British have a saying, "We're not rich enough to buy cheap things." I love that quote. I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah. My fiance told me that, and I also love it now, because it applies to almost everything in life. Like, you can buy a cheap thing and it breaks down, you replace it 10 times versus you pay for one thing and you don't have to replace it. And, but it applies to buying professional services as well. And that's the point of it on the website, is that good marketing it can cost money, but also cheap marketing also has a lot of negative costs as well. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. So I just wanted to point that out. Well, as we wrap up our time here, really quickly, Branden, so you mentioned we will post the link to those 2 5-minute videos that you mentioned. So thank you for that. Is there anything else you'd like to offer my audience to get them started understanding AI?
Well, I'll also send you a. I don't know if there'll be a way to connect it into the show notes. Maybe we can put it in a Google Share Drive. But there's a graphic I have, and when you're
Oh,
talking about which platforms, it shows basically all the best platforms that are out there for every single type of generative content you may want to make. So I think it's a really good just like cheat sheet there to go in and check out all the platforms. And then, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to just have a chat with you and see if there may be a way we can work together. You can find me on LinkedIn at Branden Cobb. It's Branden Cobb, or marketingexec.us is the website. So look forward to speaking with you and hope to hear from you soon. And Reb, thanks for having me on. It's been really fun chatting with you.
yeah, thanks, Branden. Definitely, we will have you back because as AI progresses throughout this year, I'm sure even it'll be fun to talk to you next year early to see what's changed and what's new and happening. But and to my audience,
Perfect. Would
if you
love that.
guys, yeah, perfectly. And to my audience, if you want to revolutionize your content, your branding, your messaging, your strategy, now's the time to do it. You can use tools like AI, video, podcasting. We would love to help you as well. So reach out and let's learn together.